Oh my god, it's recording. Hi! It's been so long I haven't filmed a long form video, even though long form videos are all I consume in this internet. But yeah, and we could start talking exactly about that. It's been so long because sometimes I just have such a hard time existing on the internet, honestly. I love that we live in this world where right now, in this era, that we can just be artists and post our art online, and some people will like it. But at the same time, how do we cope with all the other things that come with being on social media? It's been a few years that I stopped being so active on social media, especially like Instagram and TikTok. They're very fast paced, and it's been so good for my mental or my health in general, honestly. I did it out of necessity, honestly, because I just couldn't take any more stimulation. It was just too much pain going on. But as far as my health is doing amazing, there is the other side to it, which is I'm still trying to make it my career, right? So I'll still post about my shop and my products and my art. But then it kind of leaves me feeling very selfish and like hypocritical in a way, because it feels like I'm just taking advantage of the platform and not really giving it back in any way. Like not interacting that much with people or not engaging with the artists that I enjoy and the friends that I make. But we gotta be honest with what we can, like what we're capable of carrying as well. Because if I'm not feeling good, like if I'm logging in on Instagram, let's say, and there's this amount of information being thrown at me that leaves me feeling like that spiral-eyed emoji and like so charged with data that I can't really be myself, and like I can't be there for you as a friend or as a colleague. A colleague, who says that about someone on Instagram? But yeah, like if I can't be a work buddy to talk about being an artist or a friend, then is it really that much honest? What is it called when you don't have to answer the question? It starts with R. A rhetorical question. Yeah, so it was a rhetorical question. There is no answer needed, because the only way that we can give out is when we're well rested mentally and physically. And because or else it's just not sustainable. You would eventually just crash. But then I don't know an answer to that, because it's not as simple as finding a balance. Let's say I'll go on social media and interact with everyone for a few minutes or hours each day. A few hours is a lot, right? Let's say some sort of time each day. But it doesn't really work like that, because as we can all tell, we've all tried probably. It's some people's full-time job to just make sure that you'll find that one cat video that keeps you there wishing to scroll and then find another one that's as funny as that one. Or, you know, animals doing cute things or something very innocent. It's hard to compete with something that is so much bigger than us and not feel like helpless and that we don't have any agency in our own time, with our own time. But whenever I start feeling like that and it goes on a negative spiral, let's say I want to quit and I want to be like a farmer or a forester or work at a soup kitchen or something just so I wouldn't have to deal with the internet. I I tend to go back to, oh, but nothing is as simple, like as simplistic, because it's the system. So it will always go back to, we need to make money, we need to make a profit. For example, a farmer would still have to make a profit with his perfectly organic vegetables. They would still have to find their client base, and sometimes it might not work in that place that they live, and who knows, right? So it's not that they won't have problems. Every job has pros and cons. So instead of going down the rabbit hole of the negative side of everything, which I think it's just a triggered anxiety, I remember all the times that I've actually done the complete opposite, which is go down a rabbit hole of positivity. And I remember all the media that I consumed that just inspired me to just like get out of my desk or bed or whatever and just create something. Like all the tutorials that I've watched to play different instruments, to learn to record my own songs, and the joy that I felt when I, heard those songs being played because I did all those steps, and all the clothes that I'm wearing that I've sewn from patterns that I bought online and that I learned to sew and learn from scratch to use a machine just with the help of people on the internet. And how can you put that on a scale, right? There is so much bad, but there's so much good. And I think that's what always tips the scale for me. Like it brings me back to life in a way. So many advice and words that are comforting that I've gotten from people that I don't even know, when the ones that are close to me weren't able to say that, because how could they? We're very limited in our human beingness, and we can't expect from those people that are close to us that they know everything about everything and that they treat us in the way that we want, right? So there is so much good. And I think I've just been putting effort in the wrong place or the wrong format, which is the short form stuff that I don't really connect to that much, or it's more detrimental than helpful to me. I like that I can't come here and just talk about the things that are interesting to me or the things that matter to me in life and not ask anything from you. I'm just like offering you a one-sided conversation, and you don't even need to answer back if you don't want to. When I log on Instagram, it's just a crazy boulevard of everybody screaming and putting like signs and what is that thing? Not blackboards, not outdoor, billboards. And putting billboards saying like, check this thing that I did, check my products, buy this for me, I'm offering this. And geez, I don't know a single person that would feel good in that situation. And I think it's very normal to be overstimulated and to be overwhelmed by all those things, because it's just so far from what we should be exposed to, the whole short form thing and having to be quick and having to be showing 100 million shots in a second makes me so uncomfortable. And it's so unnatural that it makes me scared of even trying it, because I don't want to be that. I don't want you to watch that either. I actually started writing down like a script for this video because I wanted to get my point across in a clear way and make sure that I said everything that I wanted to say. And I'll show you actually. This is my fake desktop background just because it's pretty, I like it. But I actually just use a plain black one because I think that's easier on the eyes and again, less stimulating for me. Lies. So yeah, here is like what I wanted to say. But then I realized that I wrote this on like a few days ago, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna film this video, but I'm just gonna read it one more time to see if it's good enough for what I imagine that I want to say. And then when I read it, I keep re-editing it, and just like, it's endless because I'm just creating endless versions of it. And I think that I'm like polishing it better and organizing my ideas better, but I'm just creating different versions. So I think it's feeding the anxiety of like having something to say and saying it perfectly the way that you wanted it to be said. That's not even a thing. And I think just turning on the camera and being a human being, saying things and then correcting yourself, it's healthier for everyone, for you watching, because you don't think that I'm AI or something. And for me, just practicing being imperfect and being okay with it. Wow, that was so wise. So enlightened of me. I was like freaking out 15 minutes ago by the thought of turning on a camera and talking again. But it's fine. Okay, so moving on from the heavy topics of life, a huge update since I last made a video is that we moved to the countryside. I mean, you gotta clap for life sometimes, because I just had no idea this was in my cards for this lifetime. Like, no idea. I've always had the thought of living in a big city, and going where there's always something happening. Like, I could go to concerts and activities and museum exhibitions and like endless options of restaurants and cuisines, and whoa, so many things to do and so much novelty. But I did just that, and after living in exactly the heart of all of that for so long, so many years, I realized that I started noticing the other sides of it, like the consequences of living in that endless stream of options and things to do, which is you're just constantly surrounded by so much lights and noise and ads and colors and things flashing and things being offered to you, and constant change also, because like being where things are happening, there's also things that don't work out, like restaurants closing down or stores closing down, and of course the highly stimulating nature of it all. Like being where things are constantly happening and there's this constant push for you to check this out just means that there's this sense of urgency in those activities or things that are being offered, and it's just my body storing all that in form of anxiety and like trying to process everything that's happening around me, and that's a lot. So yeah, it was not good. I don't think it's good for anyone, but I can only speak of my own life, right? Because I know that some people are capable of dealing better with stimulation and are capable of holding, I guess, more data of information without freaking out. But I am not one of those people, and I got very affected. And now we're here in a completely different scenario. It's a very rural area with not much at all happening. I didn't come here for like a solution to my mind or anything, to my health. I didn't think it was gonna make me happier. In fact, I knew that it was gonna be more work, because the things that we came here for are more work. Like, for example, just the fact that we have a house now instead of an apartment. There are 3 different machines to mow the lawn, and so many things to learn about a garden and growing my own food, which is something that I really wanted. And just like upkeeping the house and maintaining it in general, it's a lot more work involved. Plus, like, I don't have the conveniences of the city anymore. Like, I can't just walk around and get my groceries and run my errands. I do need a car, which is very much against what I really liked about living in the city. But at the same time, I do think I'm happier. I just feel so much peace when I look out and nothing is happening. I feel like my body is able to hold peace for a longer period of time. There is less of a mental chatter, background chatter, and like an endless mental to-do list. I mean, it sounds very obvious when I say it out loud, like, well, if you don't get overstimulated that often, then I guess you would do a little better. I feel like when I moved to Canada and people were saying things like, oh, you will miss it back home. There is nothing like your country. There is nothing like your people. You're gonna miss the food, the culture, and there's nothing like home. And I'm still here 8 years later, waiting for the day that I'll miss those things. I just don't. I think some places fit our personalities better. And I think that's the same thing that happened when I moved here. Of course, to the outside world, it doesn't make any difference because if you have a to-do list and it's complete, that's what matters for like a job or work. But when you're the person feeling it and you see the difference from doing things for the sake of doing them, but being constantly haunted by your own thoughts and feelings versus realizing what being human actually is, which is going from activity to rest. Sounds so silly, like we have to explain this. But yeah, it's revolutionary. But yeah, I'm still a human being and I get caught up in my own weaknesses, and there are plenty of emotions in this life, and we're not going to be feeling just one, which is peace. It's peace and emotion. But yeah, we're never just going to be feeling one thing. So I do get moments where I feel small and weak and insecure, just as I did in the city. And I think that's okay, because being able to bounce back from it, that's the big thing. But when my mind is calm, I just feel like I'm living in a fairy tale or a dream, or I'm a princess or something. I could just walk around in nature. I can visit the rivers and the forests and just be enchanted by life itself. So yeah, I'll be making some different kinds of videos, like some that are more art related, or drawing in my sketchbook, or doing little collages with you. But also I'm excited to show you some more of my slower paced life and the beauty that I can't capture on camera. So if you have any ideas or any questions that you would like to tell me, I'm here, and I guess I'll see you in my next videos. Bye! Imagine I was talking for this long and it wasn't even recording.